What would happen if you woke up tomorrow and TikTok was no longer accessible in the United States? It's a question that has been looming over our heads for quite some time now. A question that could change the way millions of Americans spend their spare time and interact with the digital world. Imagine the ripple effect of such a ban. An immediate impact would be felt by the over 170 million Americans who use the app, the platform that has become a cornerstone of their daily lives, a source of entertainment, creativity, and sometimes even income, would suddenly vanish. But it doesn't stop there. The broader social media landscape would also feel the shockwaves. TikTok's unique algorithm, its trend-setting power, and its influence on popular culture are unparalleled. A ban would create a void that other platforms would scramble to fill. But why are we even discussing this? Well, the seed of this daunting possibility was planted by the US government's concerns over TikTok's Chinese ownership. The fear is that TikTok, owned by Beijing-based company ByteDance, could potentially pose a threat to national security. It's a debate that has been brewing for a while, with accusations of data privacy violations and potential security risks being thrown into the mix. This is not an isolated incident, though. In fact, it's a part of a larger narrative where technology, politics, and national security are increasingly intertwined. It's a narrative that has seen other countries too, grappling with similar concerns about the influence and control of foreign-owned digital platforms. So how did we get here? And what does the future hold for TikTok, its millions of American users, and the wider digital landscape? Now let's delve into how we arrived at this point. The path to the proposed TikTok ban was not a sudden one, but a gradual escalation of concerns and actions. The first major rumble of concern echoed in late December of 2022. The US House of Representatives, prompted by potential national security risks, decided to ban TikTok from its official devices. This move was a clear signal of the growing unease about TikTok's Chinese ownership and the perceived risk it posed to national security. Despite ongoing negotiations and proposed safeguards, the lack of progress led to calls for broader bans on the app. As winter turned to spring, tension grew. In March of 2023, the Biden administration stepped in, demanding that TikTok's Chinese owners either divest their share or face a US-wide ban. The Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States had been negotiating with TikTok for over 2 years. But despite TikTok's efforts to address the concerns, like proposing to store data with US companies, some lawmakers continued to push for a nationwide ban. The situation was uncertain, and tensions were escalating. In the midst of this, Montana took a bold step. In April of 2023, Montana passed legislation banning TikTok on personal devices, marking the first US state to do so. Critics argued the bill violated constitutional rights and could set a dangerous precedent for government control over internet usage. However, the bill was passed, awaiting only the signature of Governor Greg Gianforte. The move represented a significant escalation in the rising tension between the United States and TikTok. The stage was set, and the clock was ticking for TikTok. With the stakes high and the pressure mounting, the Biden administration issued an ultimatum. A clear, direct message to TikTok's Chinese owners: spin off their share of the social media platform or face the prospect of a nationwide ban in the United States. The ultimatum was issued in response to long-standing concerns about potential national security risks associated with TikTok's Chinese ownership. What was at stake? The Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States had been negotiating with TikTok for over 2 years, trying to find a solution to these concerns. But TikTok wasn't about to be pushed around. They proposed safeguards, like storing data with US companies such as Oracle, as a way to address these concerns. They were fighting to maintain their standing, to keep their place in the lives of millions of Americans who use the app on a daily basis. But the reactions from various parties were mixed. Some US lawmakers were pushing for a nationwide ban on TikTok, adamant that the potential security risks were too high. Others were more cautious, worried about the precedent that such a ban could set and the potential impact on First Amendment rights. And what of TikTok's millions of users and the small businesses that relied on the platform for growth and job creation? Their voices too were part of this complex conversation. A company spokesperson argued that the proposed legislation was an outright ban of TikTok and would trample the First Amendment rights of 170 million Americans. Meanwhile, the American Civil Liberties Union called the bill unconstitutional, accusing lawmakers of trading First Amendment rights for political points. The White House National Security Council, on the other hand, welcomed the move, pledging to work with Congress to strengthen the legislation. The outcome of the negotiations remained uncertain, with tensions escalating and the stakes getting higher. The countdown had begun, but the end was far from certain. The stage was set for a showdown, a battle that could redefine the landscape of social media and digital ownership in the United States. A bipartisan group of lawmakers introduced a bill that put a time limit on TikTok's fate in the United States. This piece of legislation, introduced by a united front of US lawmakers, was the ticking time bomb in the room. The countdown had begun. The bill proposed a specific window, a 165-day period, for China's ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, to divest from the popular app or face an outright ban in the United States. But what did this mean for the users and the digital platforms that hosted TikTok? The proposed legislation made it clear. If ByteDance did not divest within the stipulated period, it would become unlawful for app stores run by giants like Apple and Google to offer TikTok or provide web hosting services to apps controlled by ByteDance. However, the lawmakers were careful to ensure that individual users of an affected app would not be under any enforcement. The reaction to this ticking time bomb was varied. A spokesperson for TikTok called out the bill as an outright ban of TikTok, no matter how much the authors tried to disguise it. They argued that the bill would trample the First Amendment rights of the 170 million American TikTok users and deprive 5 million small businesses of a platform they rely on to grow and create jobs. On the other hand, a spokesperson for the White House National Security Council described the bill as an important and welcome step. They promised that the Biden administration would work with Congress to put the legislation on the strongest possible legal footing. The administration was keen on countering threats of tech services operating in the United States that posed risks to Americans' sensitive data and broader national security. The American Civil Liberties Union, however, did not mince words. They labeled the bill as unconstitutional, accusing lawmakers of attempting to trade our First Amendment rights for cheap political points during an election year. With the clock ticking, the future of TikTok in the United States hung in the balance. The proposed TikTok ban has far-reaching implications that go beyond just one app. On one hand, we have the rights of American users. As TikTok's spokesperson pointed out, this bill could trample the First Amendment rights of over 170 million Americans. For these individuals, TikTok is more than just an app. It's a platform for expression, a source of entertainment, and a means of staying connected. Then we have the small businesses. As per the company's statement, around 5 million small businesses rely on TikTok as a platform to grow and create jobs. For them, TikTok is a crucial part of their growth strategy, providing them with a cost-effective way to reach a broad audience. A ban could potentially disrupt their operations, forcing them to find alternatives in an already challenging economy. But perhaps the most concerning aspect is the precedent that this ban sets. If TikTok, with its massive user base and influence, can be banned due to national security concerns, what does this mean for other foreign-owned apps? Could they too face similar sanctions in the future? The bill also proposes giving the president new powers to designate apps of concern posing national security risks. This could potentially subject them to the risk of bans or curbs unless ownership was divested. This power, while aimed at protecting national security, could also be viewed as a significant overreach, providing the president with a considerable amount of control over the digital landscape. However, passing this legislation won't be a walk in the park. The popularity of TikTok, coupled with the fact that it's an election year, could pose significant challenges in getting the bill approved. It's a delicate balancing act between addressing national security concerns and respecting the rights of millions of users and businesses. As we await the outcome, one thing is clear. The proposed TikTok ban is more than just about TikTok. It's about national security, data privacy, and the future of the internet.